Picture this. You walk into a room and you can feel the air shift. You've spent years sharpening yourself into a weapon. You're stronger, sharper, cleaner, more disciplined than the man you were before. You've built the body. You've stacked money. You've learned style, presence, grooming, charisma. On paper, you've become the man every motivational clip told you women would chase. And yet, in real life, they don't. Women smile at you, but the smile dies quickly. They enjoy conversations with you, but they forget you the second they walk away. They go on dates with you, but they don't feel pulled. You get attention, but not investment. Interest, but never obsession. Affection, but never attachment. Respect, but never surrender. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet question grows louder. Why do women light up for men who aren't even trying? Why do they chase the man who gives them nothing? Why does effort get punished while indifference gets rewarded? This question haunts men. It humbles them, it breaks them, because at some point every man has watched a woman he wanted choose a man who puts in zero effort, no pedestal, no pursuit, no flattery, no proving, no performing, just a man who seems untouched by her presence, and she falls for him harder than she's ever fallen for anyone. Why? Why does she chase the man who acts like she's irrelevant? Why does the man who treats her like background noise become the one she can't forget? Why does the man who doesn't bend become the one she bends for? Let me drag you into the psychology no one ever explained to you. It starts the moment she enters the room. A woman walks in, confident, polished, dripping with validation she's collected all her life. She expects the usual reaction. Men turning their heads, men adjusting their posture, men offering accidental glances that last too long. This is her world. A world where she is the gravity and men orbit. She sees you, you look good, she knows you noticed her, but then she sees him, the one man who gives her nothing, no shift in breath, no spark of recognition, no hunger in his eyes. To him, she's not a goddess. She's just another person in the room. He doesn't flinch, he doesn't try. He doesn't rearrange his energy to make space for her. He doesn't lean, he doesn't chase, he doesn't signal interest. To him, she's not a prize. She's a possibility. And in that moment, something horrifying happens inside her. Her confidence cracks, not in a dramatic way, not in a visible way. Just a slight, silent fracture deep beneath the surface, the kind no one else can see. A man ignoring her doesn't feel like indifference. It feels like a threat to her identity, a threat to her power, a threat to her self-image, because women cannot ignore the one man who ignores them. Every other man confirms her worth, but this one man questions it, and the female brain is wired for one instinct above all: resolve the threat. That's where the addiction begins, not with desire, not with attraction, not with lust, with imbalance. Her ego was floating. He pulled the floor out from under it. Now she's not trying to win him romantically. She's trying to restore psychological balance, and there is nothing more dangerous than a woman trying to restore her sense of self. This is the paradox men never understand. The more you show interest, the more she feels nothing. The more you validate her, the less she values you. The more you chase, the less she imagines you. But the moment you act like nothing, not rude, not cold, just unaffected, you become the one man who stands out, because here's the dark truth nobody told you. Attention is the cheapest currency in her world. Indifference is the rarest. She gets validation everywhere, from men on social media, from men in public, from men in her DMs, from men liking her pictures, from men offering to buy her things, from men trying to impress her daily. Attention is abundant, but indifference, actual indifference, not the fake performative kind, is nearly extinct. And the male who can look at a beautiful woman and feel nothing shift inside him is a different creature entirely. He is a man outside her control, a man she cannot read, a man she cannot predict, a man she cannot place on her internal hierarchy, a man who forces her to evaluate herself, not him. You think women fall for the man who cares? No, they fall for the man who doesn't. Not because he's cold, not because he's cruel, not because he mistreats her, but because he represents a rare psychological experience, a man she can't influence, a man she can't move, a man she can't bend, a man she can't affect. This triggers something primal, ancient and hardwired, the chase instinct, the challenge instinct, the curiosity instinct, the ego restoration instinct, all ignited by one thing, your refusal to be impressed. This is where she begins projecting value onto you, not because you showed it, but because she can't explain your indifference, if every man wants her. But you don't. Her brain fills the gap with assumptions. He must have options. He must be important. He must know something. He must be used to beautiful women. He must not be easily impressed. This is how a woman can become obsessed with a man who didn't even try. Because she isn't reacting to him. She's reacting to herself, to the unfamiliar feeling of not being chosen, to the internal imbalance created by one simple truth. You didn't move for her, so now she moves for you. A woman does not become addicted to a man because of his looks, his money, his muscles, or his good personality. Women become addicted because of psychological triggers that bypass logic completely and lock directly into instinct. Men think women fall in love with consistency, commitment, compliments, stability, availability. Wrong. Women respect those things. Women appreciate those things. But none of those things ignite obsession. Obsession is born in the shadows, in the gaps, in the unknown, in the tension. And the man who understands this, or simply embodies it, becomes the one she cannot walk away from. There are 3 psychological triggers that create feminine addiction, not romance, not sex, not effort. Addiction, bonding, fixation, emotional captivity. Let's go dark, let's go deep. Let's pull the truth apart and expose what no one else dares explain. Addiction, trigger, number 1, variable reward, the casino effect. If there is one law that enslaves female psychology, it is this. Unpredictability is more powerful than consistency. Consistency makes her feel safe. Unpredictability makes her feel addicted. Why? Because the human brain, especially the female brain, becomes hooked on uncertainty. It's the same psychological mechanism casinos use. If a slot machine paid every time, no thrill. If it never paid, no interest. But when it pays randomly, the brain becomes locked in, desperate for the next hit, the next reward. Women fall for men using this exact same neurological pattern. Here's how the cycle works. Step 1. He gives her attention. Not constantly, not desperately, just enough to light her up. Step 2. He disappears. Not in a petty way. He simply goes silent. He returns to his life. No explanation. No reassurance. Step 3. Her anxiety spikes. Did I do something wrong? Does he not care? Is he losing interest? Why isn't he texting back? Step 4. Just when she starts to panic, he returns. Calm, present, unbothered, as if nothing happened. Step 5. Dopamine hits her like a drug. The relief, the excitement, the emotional high. This one emotional spike hits harder than 10 compliments from a stable man. This is why she becomes obsessed. Because her brain begins to associate him with tension, release, fear, relief, pain, pleasure. This is the same emotional cycle that creates addiction. Not safety, but volatility. A man who provides predictable emotional experiences will be seen as safe but boring. A man who provides unpredictable emotional experiences will be seen as dangerous but irresistible. You want to know why she forgets the man who texts her good morning every day, but obsesses over the man who goes hours without responding. Because the first gives her certainty, the second gives her dopamine. Women do not remember the stable men. Women remember the men who made them feel tension. This is the casino effect. You don't choose to be addicted to the machine. The machine addicts you. Addiction, trigger. Number 2, role reversal, the chase flip. Here's the truth that humiliates most men. The more you chase, the less she values you. The less you chase, the more she values you. It sounds unfair, it sounds cruel, it sounds manipulative, but it is psychological law. Women grow up being pursued. It is the natural order of the dating market. Men approach, men invest, men prove their worth, men compete, men chase. This is her comfort zone. She knows how to navigate it. She knows how to control it. She knows how to manipulate it. Then she meets a man who breaks the script. He doesn't chase. He doesn't orbit. He doesn't fold. He doesn't rearrange his life around her. Instead of chasing her, he moves like a man whose life is already full. And suddenly, she becomes the chaser. Her instincts can't handle this reversal, because now she invests more. She reaches out first. She tries to get his attention. She wants to feel chosen. She begins proving herself. Women do not value what they do not invest in. Once she invests in a man emotionally, financially, or through effort, she becomes psychologically tied to him, even if he did nothing. Especially if he did nothing. Here's the dark twist. Her own effort becomes her handcuffs. She convinces herself, if I'm trying this hard, he must be worth it. This is the same psychological trap that keeps people in toxic relationships, abusive friendships, and one-sided situationships. Not logic, not attraction, not love, investment. The more she invests, the more she believes he is valuable. Because to admit he wasn't would mean admitting her own judgment was wrong, and ego will never allow that. This is the chase flip. This is the trap. This is the moment she stops evaluating you and starts competing for you. And nothing is more intoxicating to a woman than competing for a man who isn't competing for her. Addiction, trigger. Number 3, the ego hook, the invisible wound. Every woman, beautiful or not, walks through the world with an invisible crown. A lifetime of attention built it. A lifetime of validation polished it. A lifetime of men chasing cemented it. She expects desire. She expects interest. She expects admiration. She expects effort. And then you come along. You look at her. You register her beauty. You notice her presence. And then you give her nothing. You don't hunger. You don't bend. You don't collapse. You don't offer your approval. Her ego shatters. Not her heart. Her ego. And ego wounds don't heal. They itch. They burn. They demand closure. You become the exception in her world. Every man admires her. Except you. Every man proves himself. Except you. Every man tries. Except you. Your indifference becomes an insult her ego cannot tolerate. And when a woman feels subtly insulted by a man's lack of interest, she does not walk away. She fights. She dresses better. She laughs louder. She positions herself closer. She tries harder. She becomes more performative. She tests more. She invests more. Not because she actually wants him, but because she wants her ego back. This is the ego hook, the deepest trap, the most powerful addiction trigger. Because now she's not chasing him. She's chasing herself. She needs to feel desired by the one man who refuses to give her the validation she has lived off her entire life. His silence is louder than other men's praise. His indifference cuts deeper than other men's attention. She cannot ignore him, because ignoring him means admitting her power failed, and a woman will burn half her sanity chasing a man rather than face the truth that she wasn't enough for him. These 3 addiction triggers, variable reward, role reversal, ego hook, combine into one psychological trap. You become the man she can't control, and the man she can't control becomes the man she can't forget. Every man focuses on the wrong battlefield. They chase status, money, gym results, aesthetics, lifestyle upgrades, hoping these external displays will generate attraction. But women don't fall for the man who shines the brightest. They fall for the man who doesn't respond to their shine. The deeper truth is this. Women are not attracted to superiority. They are attracted to sovereignty. Superiority is physical. Sovereignty is psychological. Superiority can be matched by a richer man, a taller man, a more handsome man. Sovereignty cannot be replicated, because sovereignty has nothing to do with what you have, and everything to do with what you don't need. This is where most men collapse. They think attraction comes from proving themselves, but women aren't drawn to the man who proves, they're drawn to the man who isn't moved, and this is where the projection of power begins. The projection of power, why indifference feels like dominance. A woman walks into a room, men turn their heads, she feels the room bend around her. It's the power she's used to. The female advantage, validation on demand. Attention without effort, power without risk. Then she notices you. And for the first time in a long time, the power doesn't move. You don't soften. You don't adjust your posture. You don't widen your eyes. You don't shift your emotional state. Your energy remains perfectly still. And in that moment, something primal fires in her brain. Why can't I move him? That question alone can trigger obsession, because the only men she cannot move are men with options, men with self-mastery, men with higher internal value, men who answer to nothing, external men who have more important priorities, men who are emotionally sovereign, and this is where attraction becomes psychological instead of logical. She can control the reactions of average men. She cannot control the reaction of a sovereign man. And what you cannot control, you cannot predict. What you cannot predict, you cannot understand. What you cannot understand, you cannot ignore. What you cannot ignore, you chase. This is the power projection of indifference. It isn't apathy. It isn't manipulation. It isn't pretending not to care. It's the natural posture of a man whose self-respect is more important than her approval. The paradox of silence, why doing nothing, creates more impact than doing everything. Most men drown women in attention, reassurance, compliments, explanations, emotional transparency, constant availability. All of this screams, your opinion creates my worth. But the man who gives silence instead of neediness, who replaces performance with presence, who values his time more than her reactions. He communicates a different message. My worth comes from within. That message is nuclear, because a woman cannot dominate a man who doesn't seek emotional oxygen from her. She cannot manipulate a man whose reactions she cannot provoke. She cannot own a man whose identity is not negotiable. This is why your silence hits her harder than other men's praise, because your silence means she is optional. Your mission is not. Her validation is irrelevant. Your direction is fixed. Her beauty is not currency. Your peace is not for sale. That level of psychological independence is terrifying and irresistible to the female mind, because deep inside, every woman carries a hidden desire to be chosen by a man who doesn't need to choose her. That makes her feel valuable, not because she was pursued, but because she was selected by someone who could have walked away without hesitation. The hidden trait, emotional sovereignty. Men think power comes from confidence, but confidence is only surface level. What truly creates feminine obsession is emotional sovereignty, the ability to regulate your internal world without relying on external approval. This is the trait that separates attractive men from unforgettable men, desired men from obsessive men, the men women like from the men women chase. Because emotional sovereignty communicates one thing. Your emotions cannot move me. My emotions move me. This is masculine gravity. It's the quiet, subtle, near predatory calm of a man who doesn't flinch when others panic. A man who doesn't break when others collapse. A man who doesn't beg for reassurance. A man who doesn't crumble under emotional storms. A man who can stand still while the world shakes. That is the man women follow. That is the man women test. That is the man women respect. That is the man women fear losing. Because losing him means losing access to a rare emotional power source. Most men drain women, Sovereign men stabilize women. The final layer, why she can't control you and why that makes her want you more. Here is the darkest truth of all. Women are not attracted to power. They are attracted to the man they cannot overpower. A woman doesn't want to dominate a man. She wants to test a man to confirm he can't be dominated. She wants to feel his strength not through aggression, but through immovability. A man who won't bend, won't beg, won't break, won't fold, won't chase, won't collapse, won't betray himself. That man is a psychological fortress. He is uncontrollable, and the uncontrollable man becomes the unforgettable man. Because he is the only one she cannot manipulate, predict, or tame, the harder she pushes, the deeper she falls. The colder he stays, the hotter she burns. The less he needs her, the more she wants him. The more he walks away, the more she chases. Power is not about domination. Power is the ability to walk away without hesitation. That is what women feel, but never admit. Not the money, not the looks, not the status, not the lifestyle, but this. This man cannot be controlled. And the man who cannot be controlled is the man she cannot forget. He becomes the ghost in her mind, the weight in her chest, the unanswered question she keeps trying to solve, the emotional lock she keeps trying to open. She doesn't choose him with logic. She chooses him with instinct, because instinct recognizes sovereignty. Conclusion: the man who does not chase becomes the man who is chase. This is the final truth. Women do not get addicted to men who treat them like queens. They get addicted to men who remain kings. A man who is sovereign, is self-directed, is emotionally immovable, is unfazed, is unbothered, is mysterious, is unpredictable, is centered, is capable of walking away, does not need external validation. That man activates every psychological mechanism in her mind. Curiosity, competition, tension, projection, obsession, addiction. And once those mechanisms activate, she cannot unfeel them. She chases, she invests, she fights, she imagines, she obsesses, she falls. Not because you tried, not because you impressed her, not because you performed, but because you didn't, because you held the one power almost no man holds anymore. The power to not need her. That is the harsh truth. The man she cannot control is the man she cannot replace. And the man she cannot replace is the man she will chase.